Hey guys, Blender Beetle here. Welcome to another Aniblog. So I know it's been probably about a week since I posted one of these, so I'm going to go ahead and do another one. Today I am thinking of working a little harder on this one. I have up on YouTube over here a video of Kpop Con where people are doing K-pop dances, and I really would like to try and work on body movements and getting more of the limbs to work the way they're supposed to. So for awesome or for fail, I'm still going to try and do this. So our first pose should be something like, I'm going to real quick rough this out in stick figure form here. I am not doing any kind of complicated background, and Opentoonz is crashing on me. So I'm going to go ahead and reopen that. No biggie, I didn't actually have anything to need to save, but let's go ahead and come over here. If you missed yesterday, I did an octopus yesterday. I was going to do an octopus today, but then I realized that I do not have the patience for 8 tentacles that seem to move on their own will. So today I'm just going to stick with K-pop, which may or may not be harder. So we're going to go ahead and do a quick stick figure. And when I say stick figure, I mean closer to blob figure. I mean, it's going to be mostly sticks, but there's going to be also some other shapes in it, because doing just a straight stick figure where it's like that or that and that and that doesn't seem to help me very much. I need a little bit of a idea of, say, the body tilting. And then this has got like a going there. And that, she's doing kind of this weird thing with her knees right here. And her first arm, let's go ahead and give her shoulders. First arm coming out like that, and she's got kind of her hand like that. And I am hoping to clean this up, but I cannot say whether it's going to actually get cleaned up or not. That all depends on how much time I have at the end of this stick figure, because it is already 10 o'clock and I do want to get this uploaded to YouTube before midnight. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and pick our next pose, which is going to be this lovely pose. Thankfully that light in the background is now covered and not shining through, because that was getting a little bit annoying. So her head's going to be pretty much in the same position, but this time her feet are kind of together. And I know it's not very smart to start from the feet, but let's just humor me here. Her chest is raised a little bit higher, her head's raised a little bit higher. Her elbows should be, or shoulders should be in the same, and now her hands, they're kind of like that. And her legs are pretty much completely together at this point. So our two poses, that and that. So let's go ahead and pick our third pose here. So you have, at this point, she starts to kind of open her legs and she pulls her arms back down. We're going to go ahead and do that next. So I'm going to keep 2 frames going here because I want to be able to see where it started off, but we're really going to pay attention to this. This is where having the up and down arrows as your shortcut keys for flipping frames is very helpful. So, because I can just real quick check if it was last frame or the frame before that certain things happened. So I'm going to pull her head down just a little bit, not a lot, just a little. I'm going to pull her sideways a little bit because I want her to start opening her legs. And it's like she's sliding her foot, but it's resisting. So I'm going to kind of keep her knee almost in the same spot. And then this one I'm going to keep almost in the same area actually, because I want it to be her pulling this leg over. We give her a little bit of a twist, and that's fine. Got her shoulders and arms, these beautiful arms here. I cannot dance like this, but I am actually tempted to try learning because, not because I think I'd look great K-pop dancing, but because I currently have no way of exercising. It's always 90 degrees outside, so I'm thinking if I could find some space inside and just learn some K-pop dances, that would help me lose some weight. So yeah. Okay, got our third pose there. Let's go ahead and save real quick because to lose it at this point would suck. Okay, turning that off. Okay, now I'm looking at this and I'm going, this elbow is doing something really weird here. I'm going to go ahead and turn onion skin back on, and I'm just going to adjust these arms a little bit because I'm getting funky with the proportions here. Just want to make sure that that's kind of realistic in its placement. Same thing goes with this one. Just pull it in a little bit because honestly that was not a realistic arc for the shape of that arm. That's better. Now that we got that, let's go ahead and turn onion skin off and flip through it. That is much closer to realistic. I'm noticing that I do not have a spine in here. I'm just going to throw that in real quick. Now let's go ahead and pick our next pose. Okay, so she's starting to go into this one move where it's like, I think her arm comes down and it goes down and up again, but it's looking like fantastic here, so I'm going to go ahead and use this pose. Someday I would like to be able to do this in which I do not have to flip through frame by frame to find the poses, but at the moment I am not at that skill level, so moving on. So basically what's happened here is her head's come sideways because her whole body's come sideways. It's gone down some. She's twisting her body. This should be relatively the same. This knee is coming back this way, and she's turning her foot now. And then at the same time, this one comes all the way out here because she's bending her leg here to get this shape. And I think I didn't pull her head far enough this way, so we're just going to go ahead and do that. Save, because always save way more than you think you need, because it's that one time that you don't save that really sucks. Again, paying attention to these arcs like I wasn't doing before and should have been. Got a nice little arc there. Just unrelated note, or semi-related note, if anyone is looking for a really good, like, basic animation course, one that I would definitely recommend is Aaron Blaze's animation course at creatureartteacher.com. He's got some really good explanations of the principles of animation that I did not really necessarily understand what they were all getting at until I watched his videos. He has a lot of good ones, but I'm currently working through his anatomy videos, anatomy of a human, and he's not super expensive. Like, I think I got it on a sale, so it was $20 when I got it. Normally it's somewhere closer to $70 to $80 per class type, because it's going to be a unit with a certain amount of videos, and well worth putting some money into it. He's really good at explaining things. If you don't know who Aaron Blaze is, he is a former Disney animator, director. I believe he directed Brother Bear. He worked on Zhao from Mulan, I believe. What else has he done? For sure, bears. Like, if you look at his drawings, bears out the wazoo. He really likes drawing bears. But, he's just got a lot of really great videos. So moving back to my ridiculousness here, as I attempt to do something probably outside of my skill level, let's go ahead and we're going to keep her foot here. I'm saying his now. But this one has decided to bend now. And I don't like the way that head is looking above the body. I'm going to pull it sideways a little bit. And get her elbows in. And this time, you've got kind of this thing going on. Because what I was wrong about is not coming... She's not coming this way, she's going that way, because I'm one dance move behind in this case. And so we're just going to go ahead and get her arms in position here. And this might look a little stiff, because it's my first attempt really at a K-pop dance, but we'll see how it turns out. Now she's doing this weird turning thingy. Okay. Let's go ahead and turn off onion skin and check out how our frames are going. So we got that to that to that to that, that. It's gonna turn it. This frame is gonna turn into this here. So I'm gonna do it. I'm going to turn her body here because she should be totally slowing down in the movement of body position because she's pretty much caught up now with her other leg. And I'm having trouble with the proportions on this leg here, but she's picked up this leg here and she's turning it here. And I just keep saying here. But anyway, she's picked up this leg. Her arms are kind of like here and here because she's pulling it up and then also turning at the same time. And then she ends up in kind of a, let's go ahead and raise her torso and everything up just a little bit. She ends up in this lovely diagonal foot together kind of deal here. Actually, I'm going to mess with this a little bit. I'm going to turn her a little bit because if you look at this gorgeous position, she's like super at an angle right here. I don't know how she's staying up, but we're going to go ahead and do that. And actually, for now, I'm going to leave it at that and see what I get here. So I've got 7 keys here. And unfortunately, they're all keys that are pretty far apart. So there's going to be quite a bit of in-betweening on this episode. So here you can see kind of the basic look of this. But we're going to go ahead and double the time spent on it here. So step 2, gotta love this program. Okay, I'm thinking those might be a little far apart. Like right here and here. And I'm going to need, when I do go to in between it, I'm going to need a little bit of a bounce here to give it kind of a reason to spring upwards, because right now it just kind of springs upwards out of nowhere. That looks kind of weird. And that one I want to go into straight. I want that to kind of, it should not stop here. It should just kind of follow through into all this. This should be a very even timing for the most part, I think. We're going to leave it there for now. So let's go ahead and, in terms of keyframes, frame this to 2s and get started on some in-betweening. Or breakdowns, actually, I should say. Breakdowns at this point. I'm going to go ahead and turn this into 1 and 1. So from here we're looking at this and we're going, it's actually, it looks like she's just popping upward, but what it should be is going down a little bit first. So we're going to go ahead and come over here. We're going to flatten this foot a little bit more. And we're going to kind of bend our knees some more. Go ahead and pull everything down, the pelvis and the rib cage and everything. We're not really paying much attention to that back one. We're going to pull her arms in a little bit closer to her body, because I'm not sure if she actually does that in the video, but that just seems like a logical conclusion of what's going to happen to her here. She's going to pull her arms in for preparation of going upward. And I realize I just demonstrated that and you can't actually see me because there's no cameras on me, but that's basically what I want to happen. So yes, that does feel a little bit more natural. So right here, and save, and then save often. You can never save too often. Back when the save all button did not exist, I was literally keeping my finger on the save button and touching it every 2 minutes. Or 2 seconds, I really don't know. So here we're going to assume that she's already popped up a little bit, and we're just going to kind of make an in-between here. Some of these are close enough together that you really just need in-betweens, but go ahead and zoom out. Okay. Might be kind of quiet because for those of you who don't watch a lot of my Aniblogs, I do not tend to talk as much when I am animating. I tend to be quieter, more focused, and I do try sometimes to keep the conversation going, but I feel like I'm rambling, trying to keep things moving, which is just about as interesting as dead silence or watching paint dry. So I'm going to go ahead and, if I don't have anything to say, probably not say much. Sorry, I'll try not to be loud. This is my sister come back because I share a room. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay.
And I will try to be quiet because I'm reading a book anyway.
Okay, enjoy your book. So, pulling her leg out here because I feel like I really am just doing straight in-betweens right now, but at this point I'm pretty much way out of my comfort zone with this animation in the first place, so let's just see how this goes. I'm realizing recently that I really need to do more outside of my comfort zone because I tend to get into this kind of cycle of doing the same animations over and over again because I know which ones I can do. I know I can do bouncing balls. I know I can do someone running and jumping. I know I can do a walk cycle. And so I tend to default on things that are variations of those things because let's be honest, I'm showing this animation to a large amount of people. I have, I think, 152 subscribers, and even if only 20 people watch my video, which seems to be my average view count, that's still 20 people who get to look at and see my epic failures. So I'm trying to get into the habit of ignoring the fact that I am posting this somewhere and practice the way I should, which is basically, it's okay to fail. That's a basic fact that will help anyone learn more. It's always okay to fail. And I think for the most part I'm pretty good at following that bit of advice, letting myself fail over and over again. I mean, heck, I'm doing an animation for my senior thesis, and for those of you who know what animation is supposed to look like, you know I'm not really good enough to do an animation for my thesis, but I'm doing it because I know that putting myself in a position that I'm not yet ready to do something that needs to get done tends to, first of all, yes, it stresses me out. That's probably a bad thing. I probably shouldn't do things that put me in a high stress situation, but at the same time it also pushes me to learn faster and do more. May not be very good at character design, but I have improved probably twice, if not 3 times as fast as I would have if I had simply said, okay, I want to improve my character design. Because I have a specific goal and because I have a deadline that needs to be met if I am to graduate, I have progressed much faster, and that's something that I kind of try and force myself into situations like that where I am way outside of my comfort zone, but I have no way to say, oh crap, I don't care about this, so I'm just going to drop it. Because the minute I give myself an out, the minute I give myself an easy way to solve the problem without work, I take it. Let's be honest, I don't have a lot of... Ooh. Sorry about that. I don't have a lot of necessarily... I don't want to say a lot of motivation, because I got motivation, but I don't tend to be a very committal person. I tend to be non-committal. I tend to want to give myself an out. So this is starting to lag here, so I'm going to do what I do often. Just save, open Opentoonz again, and I end up being able to draw normally again. Since it's saved in the scenes, just go ahead and load scene, and I'm good. Even saved the fact that I had a missing frame there. So we're going to go ahead and keep working on these in-betweens. Funny thing is, though, like, I know I've probably said this before, but I am coming up on 2 years. This animation challenge I've been doing for a while. I started it out kind of as a chance to practice animation before going and meeting a lot of animators who actually know what they're talking about, just because I wanted to kind of improve and prove to myself that I didn't suck, or rather to fix the fact that I did suck, because I probably did and might still do. But it's grown since then, and honestly, if you had told me 2 years ago that I would make it to 2 years animating every day, I would have laughed in your face. I would have probably told you that I give it 10 days tops, and I would have moved on, but I'm here. I'm almost there. I am so flipping excited, actually. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I'm super excited that I was able to make it this far, and that I have improved so much, because, again, 2 years ago, this would not be possible. this dance animation. I'm still not as far as I'd like to be, because I have, as I said earlier, kind of wimped out on some occasions. I gave myself an out. I gave myself an easy thing to do, and so I didn't always progress at a good rate. Sometimes I basically did enough to convince myself that I was still learning something, but this animation challenge has been so helpful in terms of A, proving to myself it can be done, and B, actually forcing myself to do it. So I'm looking at this here, and I'm going to reframe this to ones real quick so that I can flip through it real quick. I'm thinking this is way too fast, and I'm not sure I like the way the arc is. So I'm going to go ahead and turn onion skin on, but I'm going to give myself a couple of frames to look at. And this is a really cool thing you can do if you just need to see an arc, but you don't want to just flip through things. Look at this. And actually you can go ahead and turn off all of the backwards frames and go to the frame you want to start at. Say I want to see the arc from here. I can see all three. I can see I got a pretty decent arc here, but it's kind of like, in order to get said arc with the elbow, I've sacrificed my arc for the hands. And so I'm thinking I might want to mess with this frame, because this one's bugging me, and I'm trying to think, how can I make this look better? And what it might just be is, right now I'm kind of popping into it, but I'm thinking, what if I take this one, go ahead and, oops, that's brush, I want eraser. Go ahead and erase these arms. I'm going to save real quick, just in case. And, see, I'm liking my elbow movement there, but looking at hands, what if I just delayed these hands real quick? Just pull them all the way down here. And then have one more in between here. Just go ahead and give that one more frame where it's kind of trying not to have to go this direction here. And I want the arm to be pretty much there, but the hands should drag, because I love the dragging hands into a pop kind of feel. And I'm noticing I'm kind of favoring the second one in terms of where the arms are, and I'm trying to see if that's going to look alright. I think I'm going to favor it a little bit less. I'm going to go ahead and take this and rotate it down some. I'm going to favor the later frame a little bit less. There we go. So now I like that. I'm just going to go ahead and sketch in my rest of the body. So we're going to go ahead and reframe all of these to 2 and see what we get, because I haven't been working too much on timing, so it's probably a mess. Yeah, see, right there. Let's reframe it to 1 so I can look at this. Okay, right there. Way too much of a pop. Wait, I put that in the wrong section. That could be part of it. maybe if I think I need to add some drag on these hands here. Oh no! When was the last time I saved? I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and scenes. Load scene. Okay. Let's see what I got here. I still got all my frames. So what am I looking at here? Right here, this frame, I'm going to go ahead and add some drag on these hands. Because it's just like, they're coming right down perfectly straight, and that just looks weird. So now, that's better. But I'm getting some funky things going on with the head here, so I'm going to go ahead and separate that arm and the head, please. If I just do that, and that. Just pull these up a little bit higher, and I don't have to worry about them touching the head, because if they touch the head, then lines get all confused, and it's just not fun. I can't remember the actual word for it. There was a word that we learned in my internship about things touching. Okay. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, this is way too much of a pop. So I want to add quick in between here. I would like that to be a more gradual movement. I also have to be careful with this hand here because you're getting kind of like an upside down. And by that I don't mean upside down, but yeah, an up to the side and then down. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here. And again, you've got up and there, so I'm just going to put this sideways. And at this point, you've got some popping also happening in the body, where the body and the head are moving super quickly in these two frames, which is what I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying to make that slower, more gradual in this first part here. So let's go ahead and look at that. If you're going to do that, I feel like right here is also going to move too fast, but let's go ahead and give it the benefit of the doubt and see what happens. Save, and let's see if we can make our little guy move. So the onion skin confusing thing here. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get in terms of the movement, so I'm probably going to go ahead and take this stick figure here and turn it into a fleshed out form. So let's go ahead and turn the opacity down on this guy. I absolutely love that feature, and I'm also going to click this eyeball here so that he doesn't show up in the final render if I forget to turn him off. So now in terms of fleshing things out, I'm not going to do a hair. It's still going to be a good old-fashioned circle for the head. But I can probably go ahead and flesh out the body a little bit more. I'm not necessarily that good at body shapes yet. I have been watching videos and kind of messing with things to try and figure out how to portray full bodies. Right here we got I love legs. I'm not necessarily good at legs, but I love legs. I need to stop saying that. I need to stop saying I'm not good at things. It's kind of a habit now, and it's something I'm trying to break, the habit of saying I'm not good at that, because people tend to get annoyed at that, I've noticed. So let's go ahead and sketch in some arms. Again, as much as they're hard, I love arms. And I'm still going to keep that little kind of a almost diamond shaped, not so much diamond shaped, just kind of ovalish hand style. Because at this point I do not have the patience for hands tonight. So next thing, we're going to go ahead and reframe all these to ones, because I'm looking at this and going, well yeah, there's like, that would be a pain in the butt. So, I'm going to go ahead and turn on onion skin here, because we want a good look at what our full fleshed out figure is doing. You might notice I'm being more careful with these lines. I'm kind of trying not to be too sketchy, although I'm not succeeding. I'm just kind of trying to make her look a little cleaner. I'm also trying to catch sizing issues, like proportional issues. Like right here where the arm was getting longer than I necessarily want it to be, because the body hasn't moved down that far, so arms shouldn't either. I use the eraser a lot in this stage if I get to this stage. Often I stick with sketches or stick figures because this is supposed to be a learning exercise, and I find that too much complication really makes things harder and tends to confuse the learning process, because you're so busy looking at detail that you miss the bigger picture of what you're trying to do. So I'm going to kind of turn her waist a little bit here, because I feel like she's kind of dragging her knees in a little bit. And to that effect, I'm going to pull this leg down slightly. I'm going to keep the foot exactly where it is, but I want to just pull that leg down a little bit. And for 3. Our lovely shoulders have come far down. We want our head to be in the place it ought to be. And I probably should be doing a neck, huh? I'll mess with that in a sec. So, got a question for y'all. Do you make sound effects when you're animating? Because that's something I've noticed I do, like, whether it be just like ridiculous breathing, like or just, it may just be that I'm weird, but I'm just curious if anyone else does that. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what weird things everybody is doing that's not just my own silliness. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this down here, because if you notice, he's up, down, up, down. The shoulders have come down some, so I'm making the waist come down as well. And the knees all the way down here now, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull this down a little bit. Same goes for this leg. And I love the kind of position where your legs are together. It's really easy because it's one nice solid shape. Yeah, that position rarely lasts long. So we're gonna go ahead and save this and then kind of turn off onion skin and flip through our forms. Yes. My arms are getting smaller, I believe. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just pour this out a little bit. Just to lengthen this arm slightly. It is ideal to just draw it correctly the first time, but if you are just doing like a sketchy or a practice, it's okay to have some blurry areas. Unless you're practicing cleanup, then definitely don't have some blurry areas. In this case, I can just kind of go over it with a brush again, and it kind of defines the line enough for my purposes. But if you look, we're getting kind of a mostly consistent shape to these legs and those arms here. And here's where things get really funky. So, you'll notice both shoulders and waist should have gone up. I wasn't very correct in how I drew the anatomy of this lovely stick figure, but we'll go ahead and let it slide. Kind of, every now and then I just kind of trace an arc to see how it's faring with the way I've drawn my forms, because you don't have to actually draw an arc to see where it's going, but sometimes you're looking at this and you're going, okay, where's the arc? If you just kind of draw an arc from one point to the other, it makes it much easier to visualize what's going on, and then also much easier to catch and fix mistakes in the arc. Like say it was here and the arm was over here, I could see that that's not going to be a very good arc if you want it to be over here. So we just want a nice even arc. And I'm going to kind of pull her waist sideways a little bit because I feel like that's happening. Well, she's going sideways a little bit, but I'm also having trouble. I'm going to go ahead and erase out this attempt at a rib cage that I've been doing. Just kind of, if I just get rid of that, it's less confusing. And I'll deal with that when I have the knowledge of anatomy to actually draw it incorrectly. But I am going to fix this because she is more of an hourglass shape than that. So, yeah, it's probably more like that. There we go. Just kind of pulling her legs up here. And she's pulling her legs in as well. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm just kind of dragging her legs in because I noticed that I didn't do a lot with the legs in the stick figure form, and it's getting kind of confusing with how the movement works, so I'm trying to add a little bit more to define the movement a little bit better. Again, messing with figuring out how the arc's looking, I'm liking it. I'm trying to keep the hands roughly the same size as they're supposed to be, but I'm finding it difficult to keep from slight changes, which, while a slight change like between this and this is no big deal, if you notice, those hands have probably doubled in size over the last 2 frames. So I'm just going to leave it because this isn't the cleanup. This is my practice on making things move in a cohesive fashion. So I'm just going to go ahead and pretend that it doesn't exist. And I'm going to, technically what she's doing here is she's straightening out her legs. She's not, she's unbending her legs. So I'm going to go ahead and let it get longer, but what I'm also doing is I'm thinning it out a little bit. Let's go ahead and save real quick before I lose all of this work, because again, that would be annoying. Okay, so I'm looking at this and going, those shoulders move way more than that waist. I think it's because I thickened the line a little bit too much, so let's try that again. Let's turn off onion skin. That is much better. Okay. Onion skin back on, please. Now for the fun part. I have not done a lot with shoulders, so I'm just kind of mostly guessing at this anatomy at the moment. But, monkey! And again, I'm still getting that arc going here. Let's go ahead and turn off some of these. Go ahead and pull this up a little bit, because I think it's supposed to be higher. This is where knowledge of anatomy comes in handy, and the fact that I don't have said knowledge of anatomy tends to hurt. I'm just going to kind of group these together because they're not separated at this point. It's a nice solid mass. I'm going to move this head to the left a little bit. And go ahead and take a look at how that's going. Okay. Fun part. I'm basically tracing over everything but the arms. I like simple ones like that. I'm going to go ahead and move this waist up a little bit. Just leave that the way it is. I'm always worried when I'm doing these things that I'm gonna like forget to draw in a whole leg which I have done before. So like, I'll be sitting there, I'll be watching it, and like, your leg disappears, and I'm like, okay, that was a little creepy. I'll have to work on that. And the nice thing about her coming down is she's gonna start moving like that, but you get kind of this interesting twist here, so you get a built-in anticipation, which I'm not sure I actually realized was there. And I wonder if I really caught an anticipation in the video, or if I just screwed up and it turned into a happy accident. I honestly do not know. So... and again, this time I'm just going to go ahead and trace the legs, because she's not quite turning them yet. But I am going to kind of pull one slightly to the side, just because I felt like it. Safe, because always safe, often, so often that you think your save finger is going to die, but always save, 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 save. Thankfully, I have not lost any large amounts of work, probably in a good at least 2 weeks. And part of that's because I save often, part of that is because I've been animating more on my iPad because I get lazy and don't want to move to my tablet. So that's another thing I'm trying to force myself to go to my tablet more often, even though the iPad is technically a plausible animation tool. It is not the most ideal, and therefore comes out with not the most ideal results. So now we're getting out of the togetherness of these two, and I'm going to communicate that by pulling this leg over here a little bit and changing it so that the knee's facing a slightly different direction. And this one, I'm going to pull towards it, because it's not quite moving yet to the other direction. I want to get that lovely anticipation, which I'm thinking I lost here. So let's go ahead and test it out. I think it works alright. So you notice that the shoulders are starting to come down, so we get that. But we're also getting this kind of twist in the body here. This lovely hip movement that I'm going to go ahead and try and catch here. I'm not being very careful with these arms. I'm just kind of trying to actually get something that looks like something is my main goal here, and kind of gonna deviate a little bit here because I want this to be more visible. Head. I cannot tell you how many times my head vanishes from animations. It's quite a feat. I managed to miss the head for 3 whole frames, and then I realize it because the onion skin shows nothing in that area, and I'm like, oh, the head's gone. Whale. And so the shoulders come down, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this waist down a little bit because this lovely leg is starting to jut out this direction. It's making a beautiful, beautiful shape here. I'm going to start turning this leg because we want it to turn a little bit. I'm going to pull this knee a little bit to the left here. Stop letting it be quite so much of a loner. It still needs to connect to the ankle because that's probably anatomically correct to have it connect to the ankle. But, you know, I don't know much about anatomy. Yeah, that's no excuse. I really need to work on my anatomy. True. So shoulders haven't moved, so waist should not change much. That's generally how I gauge whether or not I need to lower or raise the waist, where the shoulders are, because the shoulders and waist are attached. So yes, they can stretch, but they will have a general idea of where they are supposed to be, which helps tremendously. I'm kind of deviating a little bit more. I'm giving her a little bit of a toe thing here because I'm realizing that this leg is getting awfully long for the body type of my human here. I'm also pulling this leg sideways as it does in the stick figure. True. I'm noticing her right legs coming over, and I'm getting much quieter because I'm getting into the point where I'm trying to follow my sketches, my stick figure, but I am finding that I didn't lay down the foundations necessarily well and having trouble figuring out where everything is. I can kind of see it all, like I don't have much trouble seeing it, but following it's a whole nother story, and I'm also having to get into more of thinking about the structure of what I'm laying down and not just line, twists. So, head, shoulders, knees and toes. And I'll be honest, what may end up happening is if the fleshed out figures movement is not acceptable, I will likely just go ahead and post the stick figure and then travel my days in the ultimate shame of having posted an animation vlog with so much useless content. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine. If you are seeing this and I've posted this particular animation blog without like editing out all of this stuff, then I have decided to go with this on the daily animation, and you have nothing to worry about. It was not a waste. Well, okay, that is entirely up to you whether you think it was a waste or not, but at least you did not waste an extra hour watching things that did not get posted, because they will have been posted. If that makes any sense. There I go again with the vanishing head. Okay, I don't know how this turned out, and let's go ahead and watch it. I'm going to reframe it to 3s because I feel like 2 is too fast. So I think she grows some, but overall I think it turned out okay. So I'm going to go ahead and set all this up. Okay, I got that good. And render it out. This is the final results. One more second. I'll go ahead and extend this out because that was a very sad final result in terms of endings. Let's go ahead and drag this out a little bit too so we get a little bit more of a hesitation there. Okay, so this is the final result. What did I do? Oh my gosh, I ducked it. I do not want to duck. Third time's a charm. And there you have it. Thank you for watching. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped whatever crazy thing you guys are trying to animate. If you got any animations you'd like me to see, or just any animations in general, put them down in the comments below. I love looking at other people's work. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to comment and subscribe.